If Alison DiLaurentis had a problem, she made it everyone's problem. Think of Regina George on crack. Rosewood never knew a better villain. Miss Girl had everyone in that town wrapped around her pretty little finger and had her way every time. Before she ever disappeared, she turned Rosewood into her own personal dictatorship. Except instead of soldiers, she had rumors. Instead of weapons, she had secrets. And somehow, everyone willingly played the game. Adults feared crossing her. Teenagers desperately wanted her approval. And even people who hated her still obsessed over her every move. I mean, the girlie had to be stopped. And while Miss DiLaurentis is a fictional character, the psychology behind how she acts and thinks is entirely real. So today, we aren't going to spend any time discussing if her actions are justified or not, because despite her many cruel, unfair, and slightly sadistic tendencies, her character informs us of principles about power, perception, and your ability to control reality. Principles that you've never understood, because why would anyone want you to know? That's the strange thing about power. It doesn't always belong to the strongest person. Sometimes it belongs to whoever controls everyone else's imagination. So let's get into the video. Welcome back to the Mogul Manifesto. On this channel, we analyze the most famous characters, public figures, and moments in history and dive into the truth, the psychology, and principles of power. Let's begin. You wouldn't actually think a 15-year-old little girl would be the cause so much chaos. Unless she's Alison DiLaurentis, of course. See, Alison was able to control people and manipulate their actions for her own gain. She genuinely acted like a federal agent. Today we're breaking down exactly how Alison built her empire, why everyone from the liars to Jenna, Ian, Wilden, and even the adults kept reacting to her long after she disappeared, and why her mindset resembles some surprisingly timeless principles of power and psychological influence. Most people believe power comes from physical strength, money, popularity, or authority. Alison proves something much stranger. Power often comes from controlling perception. There's this principle in social psychology called information asymmetry, which fundamentally says whoever holds secrets holds power. When someone simply listens, they gain leverage. Leverage that will create a power imbalance which you want to sway in your favor. By withholding your own secrets, you maintain an air of mystery, controlling how others perceive you while remaining impervious to judgment. Alison purposefully monitored her friends and waiting for vulnerable moments. She caught Spencer kissing her sister's boyfriend and used it as leverage against her. She caught Arya's dad cheating with another woman and threatened her with that information. She saw Hannah eating cookies and picked at her insecurities. She knew that Emily was bisexual, but she was still in the closet, and she got closer to her for the sole purpose of keeping her obsessed. She used private knowledge as leverage to force compliance, by ensuring she knew their deepest fears and mistakes while keeping her own dark secrets hidden. She created an uneven power dynamic, where she could destroy someone just as easily as they could destroy her. She got away with the Jenna thing because she privately watched Jenna and Toby during an intimate setting after accusing Toby of doing the very same thing. She then dragged on the girls over to Jenna's, caught her and Toby, threw a stink bomb, and literally committed arson by setting the garage on fire. Now this is a problem because she blinded Jenna in the process. Now Alison is smart and she knows she needs to take care of the loose ends. She immediately blackmails Toby before he's interrogated by police, saying that she'll reveal the secret rendezvous him and Jenna had in the garage. Someone smarter may call her bluff and implicate her to the crime anyway, but Alison's manipulation works and Toby actually goes down for the entire crime to protect Jenna. Again, she uses people's secrets against them as leverage to use whenever necessity. People judge her, but she simply understood one fundamental rule: that information is never equally distributed. Throughout history, intelligence organizations have emphasized gathering information before acting because knowledge creates leverage. Alison followed the same logic socially. She constantly listened more than she spoke, wandered into conversations unnoticed, remembered tiny details, and quietly collected embarrassing truths about nearly everyone in Rosewood. Every conversation became reconnaissance. What made Alison terrifying wasn't simply that she knew secrets, it was that nobody knew which secrets she actually knew. That uncertainty multiplied her influence exponentially. Alison kept all the girls psychologically trapped inside mutually assured destruction. Neither side completely trusted the other enough to escalate openly because each believed the other possessed devastating information waiting to be revealed. This resembles a classic deterrence principle. Two rivals often avoid direct confrontation because each believes retaliation would prove more catastrophic than their current positions. Also, Alison skillfully used the principle of scarcity to make herself seem more desirable and elusive. In Rosewood, acceptance by Alison was a rare, highly coveted commodity. Because she was charismatic, beautiful, and effortlessly popular, being in her inner circle meant status and protection. By making her validation scarce and threatening to revoke it, she conditioned others to constantly seek her approval and tolerate her cruelty. She used this tauntingly. Before Hannah lost weight, she was quite shy and insecure. Alison knew this and took advantage. Her and Sean didn't know each other, but Hannah liked him. At the time, he seemed interested in Alison, and she dangled him in front of her. Alison treated Mona like background furniture. Every insult, every humiliation, every exclusion was purposeful. Same thing with Lucas, picking at him, making him feel like even more of an outcast. It's all to perpetuate the idea of an I versus you hierarchy. I am better than you. Me and you are not the same, therefore not deserving of the same treatment. This way of thinking is similar to that of the Victorians, aristocrats, and royal families of past decades. Establishing a social boundary between the peasants and royals was essential to maintaining order and a social hierarchy. Alison DiLaurentis remains one of television's most fascinating characters. She wasn't simply the queen bee. Somehow she convinced an entire town to fear the possibility of what she might do next, more than what she had already done. And honestly, that's an absurd amount of power for someone whose biggest daily responsibility should have been finishing algebra homework. If you enjoyed this breakdown of television's greatest psychological strategist, watch the next video where we analyze another fictional mastermind and uncover the real-world psychology hiding beneath their decisions. With our help, you'll start recognizing these patterns, and soon you won't be able to watch your favorite characters the same way again. This is the Mogul Manifesto.